Yep, it's happening. This is actually happening. We're doing this.
Oh, God.
Taylor, we're supposed to be doing a thing here.
We watched The Room. I don't give a fuck anymore. And I'm fucking hungry. What the fuck was that?
It was The Room. Tommy Wiseau. Signed. Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here, and I'm joined once again by
Taylor.
And today we're going to be talking about The Room, which we went and saw in a theater with Tommy Wiseau. I mean, he wasn't with us, like, sitting with us, but he was there live in person, and we got to hear this awesomely weird, creepy dude say some bizarre-ass shit. And, so now we're going to talk about the movie with you guys. Also, if you haven't seen it, there is a video of all the footage that we took there that night, including a Q&A with Tommy Wiseau that's already up on the channel, so make sure you check that out. But with no further ado, let's jump into The Motherfucking Room!
A perfect world.
These are for you.
A perfect life.
I would do anything for my girl.
I don't love him anymore. He didn't get his promotion. And he got drunk last night. And he hit me.
It's not true. I did not hit her. Treat you like a princess, and you stab me in the back. I'm fed up with this world. You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
The Room, a film with the passion of Tennessee Williams, directed by Tommy Wiseau.
Alright, so I had already seen The Room like 15, 16 times before this, but never seen it in a theater. Taylor, this was your first time ever seeing The Room, yes?
Yeah.
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 Now, obviously, you had heard about it before.
Many times.
You'd
many
seen the
times.
memes.
Oh, yeah. All of the memes.
And have you actually seen any of the reviews that are online for the movie?
Yeah, I think we watched one.
Maybe the Nostalgia Critic or
Maybe.
Cinema Snob or somebody like
I can't even
that.
remember, but we watched at least one.
At least one. But, so with all that foreknowledge that you already had, did it prepare you for watching The Room?
No.
No?
No, not at all.
So having said that, what'd you think of the movie?
I thought it was absolute shit.
Yes.
Yeah. I couldn't.
Was it the worst thing you'd ever seen?
No. The worst thing that was like an actual movie that I've seen. But at other things, no.
Okay, fair enough. Right on. So, bad movie, not the worst movie. How about the overall experience of going to the theater and not meeting Tommy Wiseau because you didn't want to, and then like having the Q&A and watching the movie with the crowd? Like, how'd you feel about that?
Honestly, if I was not in that theater and the crowd wasn't there, you know, because like as you'll see in the video of before, like the crowd was extremely interactive, so I feel like I would not have had a good movie experience if they weren't there.
That's fair.
Like, I feel like it would have been bland.
That's very fair. And I think that's a perfect transition to us actually going into, and we'll come back a little bit to the experience of watching the movie in that environment. Mm-hmm. However, I think that's a good transition spot for us to go ahead and talk about the movie itself.
Don't worry about that. Lisa loves you too, as a person, as a human being, as a friend. You know, people don't have to say it. They can feel it.
Alright, Taylor. So, what is your favorite, or what did you enjoy most about not the experience of going to see The Room, but The Room itself? Now, that can be ironically or unironically. What'd you enjoy?
The terrible sex scenes that they did.
Yeah.
It was so cringy and bad.
You mean the 2 sex scenes, or like 3 sex scenes that they shot and then turned into like 5 or 6 sex scenes that are spread out through the movie?
It's just like they don't, like, I don't know how to do that, but I probably could do better.
Yeah. There's a lot of angles and like geometry that's not making sense in those sequences. there's also a lot of just one tit.
Yes.
Like, just, and I think it's always the same. No, okay, they do swap it out every now and then.
Yeah, but it's mainly, like, I think it's the left tit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost as if they told this actress that they were going to be doing implied nudity, and then shot around it to make sure they got at least one tit in every shot, so they had to use it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what happened, but when you look at the footage and you look at Mr. Wiseau,
Yeah.
come on, you know, like, we got to get that one tit in there. That's going to save this movie.
Singular tit.
It's going to save the movie, you know.
That great though.
Yes, but we're not going to criticize the
Yeah,
poor
no.
woman's tit. She was
Very
already
sorry.
in the room.
I'm so
She's a
sorry
trooper.
for you.
You know.
I'm so sorry for her.
So, okay, so the sex scenes were humorous because of how awful they were.
Yes.
Like most
it was
things in this
so
movie.
fun. I honestly usually am like uncomfortable at sex
Yes.
scenes, but I was just like,
Well, and what's really weird is, like, he hired a real crew for this movie.
yeah,
So there are certain aspects of the movie that look technically okay.
yeah,
So, like, in the sex scenes, like, the lighting and, like, the actual camera movements and stuff aren't horrible. There are
No.
even these, like, pseudo-artsy shots where they're, like, there's, like, a fountain with flowing water and glass in front of
Yeah.
them, or, like, the freaking canopy stuff, see-through canopy stuff on the bed, like, obscuring them. And I don't know if it's Tommy or someone on the crew who was like, I'm going to make it look as good as I can, I guess, because I know plenty of people in filmmaking who are like that. It's like, I'm working on a piece of shit, but I'll make it look as good as I can, I guess.
yeah.
But then, like, once you get into the editing and the way that those scenes are put together, and then the performances within those scenes, it's like... And you know what? Like, again, to that poor actress's credit, like, gross. Like, if... Like, you know, like, it's pretty hard to get into, like, the sex scenes with Tommy Wiseau, especially whenever, like, eventually we'll watch The Disaster Artist, but for the people who know about the behind the scenes of the movie, he was kind of a monster of a dictator and a just total dick while they were making this movie. Mind you, a lot of people were thinking he was crazy and talking shit about him, but still, so all that combined with the fact of him just being like a weird, creepy, gross kind of seeming person, and once we saw him talk yesterday, that's not who he is.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
he seems like a much more sensitive, sweet guy who just, like, is bad with social interactions and lashes out when he feels hurt. But we can definitely see why it would be difficult for her to, like, get into that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so weird though. It's clearly the same sex scenes, and they just, like, shot a fuckload of footage, I guess because they used two cameras, a digital and a film camera right next to each other, because that's how cinematography and filmmaking works. And I'm pretty sure throughout the whole movie we only see footage shot from, like, the real, like, film camera, but I could be mistaken on that. Maybe some of the stuff on the roof where they're doing, like, the green screen stuff, maybe. But anyway, yeah, the sex scenes are fucking atrocious, and because of it, they are infinitely entertaining.
Yes.
Just keeps bringing back that same fucking rose. Goddamn.
Same exact one.
Goddamn.
It's just like, we thought you were destroyed in the last one. What the fuck?
Goddamn.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, as for me, my favorite thing in the room is the ridiculous waste of recreating all of their sets. Because almost all the sets that we see in this movie, except for a few select places like the flower shop and obviously parks, but like a lot of the apartment and the rooftop and the alleyways are all things that were recreated from real locations for the movie. And in some instances, it's like the apartment they built is actually smaller than the apartment that it's based on because of the space they had in the stage area. And, like, yeah, like, they literally made the rooftop of Tommy Wiseau's real building where he lived at the time on a stage with green screen, and then went to the real place to shoot the background plates. which is either one of the dumbest, most wasteful things ever, or brilliant when you consider that you would have zero sound quality on top of a real rooftop, and you'd have to redub all that stuff. But that means that you just built an entire set for the sake of dubbing, and frankly, I don't see Tommy as looking at that side of things. I think it was more a fact of just like, he knows you're supposed to build sets for a movie, so he built sets for a movie. Because this is real Hollywood movie, Greg. It's a real Hollywood movie. God, my Tommy Wiseau is awful. It's real bad. I need George here. One of the cinematographers I work with. He does... There's George, and then there's Uber Org. And Uber Org does the most perfect Tommy Wiseau impression ever. I'm putting a picture of him up on screen right now so you can see. When this guy does Tommy Wiseau, he does him hard.
You know what? You just need to ask him to film it.
Yeah, right? I might be able to get him to do that. But yeah, so the sets, man. And they're all so... Like, the rooftop and the alleyways, it's rooftops and alleyways. And they're recreated very, very well. But then, like, in the apartment is where, like, things really start falling apart. Because, like, the set itself isn't that bad. But I don't know if the front door wouldn't stay closed. Or if the sets were just flimsy enough that if you actually showed the door shutting, you could see the whole wall move. But, like, man, that set looks just fine. But sucks, man. Like, you can see the stairs shifting. You can see, like, all the bad set dressing. Like, the spoons, which will come back later when we're talking about another part of this. But, yeah, like, and even just, like, the way things are arranged in there and the specific furniture chosen, it looks so cheap and fake. It looks like the set to a porno, which is funny because most of this movie is just fucking and then conversations about fucking or leading to fucking. So, yeah. But it's so bizarre. It's so weird that I love it. I love it so much, and I know I'm forgetting, like, some crucial elements of the set that make me really, like, the fact that the stairs at the top of the stairs and the bottom of the stairs do not actually match in terms of the geometry of, like, how big they should be. Unless it had, like, a tornado effect where they got bigger and they just never showed it to us because they couldn't show the top because it was a set.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. But, like, I'm sure I'm missing some stuff that makes me love that so much. But I love the goddamn fact that he built all these real places into sets. And some of them are so shitty. While some of them are so competently done. It's so bizarre. And I love it so goddamn much. I forgot to silence my phone. Oops. Hey, fuck it. It's the video for The Room.
Who cares?
All right. And now, what will certainly be the most difficult part of the video. What did you fucking hate the most about The Room?
The movie. The whole thing.
The whole room.
Yeah, the whole fucking room. Even though there was more than one room.
Yeah, actually, that is a good point. Like, I'm assuming that the room that is in discussion is the bedroom where he kills himself and most of the fucking happens. But you have a valid point. There are multiple rooms in this movie.
Yeah. And
it's clearly only about one, but the movie never tells us directly which one. So, you know, that's fair. And, like, yeah, I understand. It's not a good movie.
It's not.
But I do think that it's surprising. Like, the fact of the matter is, when this movie came out, in terms of the kind of movies that were distributed and that a lot of people saw, this was probably one of the worst films that a lot of people had ever seen, you know? But even when it came out, it was not the worst film ever made, or even anywhere close to the worst film ever made.
Yeah.
And even today, you can probably go onto Netflix right now and find 50 to 100 movies that are worse than The Room.
Yeah.
Having said that, it's still a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
And as much as I, got to give Tommy credit for just rolling with the punches, being like, I'm glad you enjoyed my comedy, and making a career out of that and a living out of it. This is a stinker, and it was made very sincerely by someone who thought they were making a masterpiece. And that kind of pain, as mean as it is what makes it enjoyable.
Yeah.
And trust me, as someone who has made things that have not turned out as well as I would have liked them to, things that I really cared about and I really loved, I can empathize with him and sympathize with him. But you know what? The motherfucker's doing good. Like, he made a career out of it. He made a living out of it. He swung, you know, he rolled with the punches, swung for the fences, and, like, it's not, maybe not the life he wanted, but it could be a lot worse, you know? And the movie could be a lot worse.
It could.
For as bad as a lot of the things in this movie are, I think Joe, who we saw the movie with last night, summed it up best. It's actually mostly just boring.
Yeah.
But, you know, but having said that, there are a few things in the movie, or at least the experience we had last night going to see the movie, that definitely made it enjoyable. So real quick, we're going to touch on just a few of those things.
So, honestly, the experience for me was really awesome. Sadly, we could not film it because it was, like, during the movie.
Yeah.
But, like, as you said, the props in the background, the art has spoons in them.
Yep.
So, anytime you would see a piece of art, the crowd in the background would say, "Spoons!" and then throw plastic spoons everywhere.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then, that was my favorite part. I kept getting hit, but it was totally worth it.
I guess so. It was, you didn't seem like it was worth it. Like, the first 2 or 3 times, you seemed like, that's funny. And then after that, you were like, I'm done with the fucking spoons. You didn't say that, but you just had this look on your face like, what fucking spoons again? How many times are we gonna see the spoons?
It honestly was a little bit annoying at the end, but, like, honestly, like, when I look back at it, I'm like, that was really funny. That was really fun. And
it's hilarious and kind of makes up for it whenever we're leaving the theater afterwards, and just the sheer amount of plastic spoons covering the floors.
And that was only, like, the walkway. We didn't even see in between, like, our chairs or anything, or the front row.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I know that, like, they provided spoons, but some people clearly also brought their own spoons, because there were multiple different kinds of spoons.
Yes, and, like, these girls right next to us had 5 boxes of 240 plastic spoons.
Yeah, like, they came prepared. People came prepared. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I also really enjoyed Home Dude, who during the experience of it, like, basically every time the football came out in the movie, he ran around with the football, and I was like, the only thing missing from that is him having a friend to, like, throw it around to, and I almost jumped up to do it, and then I was like, nah, I've got Jack Daniels in me. There's no good can come from that right now. Me with Jack Daniels and a football? Nah, let's not do that. No, we'll pass. But that was pretty fun. And, you know, like, on one hand, those moments did actually really increase the enjoyment of the movie for me. And I know they did for you.
Oh, yeah.
On the other hand, like, I feel like with some movies, like The Room and a few others, like, they're trying way too hard to, like, make it the midnight movie, like, cult movie experience, like Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's like, first off, Rocky Horror Picture Show is a good movie that then has an amazing, like, thing around it, and it's intended to be campy and all those kind of things. Like, that movie is what it is because it works. And there's a lot of movies like The Room and a few others that are movies that have become cult classics because they don't work. And they've tried to package themselves in the same way as, like, the Rocky Horror midnight movie type thing. And it's like, sometimes it feels like they're trying just a little too hard. The spoon thing was fine. The football thing was fine. And I know at some of these of The Room, they have people acting it out on stage. And it's like, I guess so. Because we did that in Austin, working on Evil for Dinner. We spent 5 hours one night just recreating scenes from The Room and filming it. At some point, Forrest Dean, you sexy motherfucker, you're going to have to edit that footage so I can put it on this YouTube channel. Alright, dear friends, fuck this. We don't even know what take it is. Directed by that one guy who did that one thing that no one really remembers.
I am fed up with this world. They are grateful. Come on, Greg. I pay movie and they say they director. When I director, I rolled it.
Yeah.
Dude, that asshole's been saying that all day.
Not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
Oh, it's Lisa. She says I hit her.
What?
Did you?
Dear friends. Action.
problem with you? Why do you not do scene? Come on, this is real Hollywood movie.
Tommy, hi, Mark.
What is Johnny? What's up?
Not much. So how's your sex life? It is not true. I did not hit her. She's lying. It's bullshit. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. How's it going, Tommy? Oh, it's fine. Tommy, you think girls cheat like guys do? That's funny, Mark. Why you ask? Well, I used to know this girl. She had like 10 guys. And then one of them found out and beat her so bad she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street. What a funny story, Mark. Go watch some of the videos from Evil for Dinner. You'll meet Forrest. He's our resident sexy man. What up? But, anyway.
What a story, Mark.
Yeah, you can say that again.
I'm so happy I have you as my best friend, and I love Lisa so much.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you are very lucky.
There are also other things within the movie that, like, while they are pretty bad, I fucking love it. Like, there's a lot of things that a lot of people have talked about that, you know, like the scene in the flower shop is amazing because everything about it's wrong, you know, but the things that for me really work are also like these just like the number of times that Tommy Wiseau's name is in the opening credits of this movie is hilarious. Like, if you didn't know this was like an ego-stroking movie, you do before the credits are over, you know? Again, I really enjoy how much clear effort the crew put into trying to make this look like a real movie versus all the things in the movie that don't work. And I don't think that's really given enough... I don't think those guys on the crew who dealt with that shit and made this movie look as good as it does look, I don't think they get enough credit. Because, man, like, holy hell, guys. Rock on to you. And beyond that, like, yeah, like, man... Greg Sestero in the movie, he's not the best, but there are some moments where he actually has like a couple of little good moments where it's not so much him acting as much as him just being done with Tommy's bullshit and like putting it into the character. Like a couple of times during the fight scenes towards the end, while they're really weak, lame fights, it's like there's a couple of moments where like Greg gets a look on his face and you're like, yeah, he's not acting. He really wants to just punch him in the fucking mouth right now. And is doing everything he can not to. So little moments like that, like knowing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, it really enriches a lot of like the experience watching the movie. And again, as someone who has made films and like been a part of both good films and really bad films, there is something about this movie that is still pure. And I think that that's really why there is like the cult classic status that it has achieved, is that there's a purity in the making of the film and someone who believed in what they were doing and just thought they were making high art. There's also a level of purity in someone just being like, fuck it, they all think it's a comedy, they all think it's funny, I'm just gonna go with that, and this is my life now. Like, there's something very zen and pure about that. And when you meet Tommy and you actually talk to the real guy, as much as he looks like kind of a sleazy, weird guy you wouldn't want to ride on the bus next to, like, he seems like a genuinely sweet and sensitive person who probably hasn't had a lot of friends and has been fucked over a lot in his life. And so he has a lot of weird social issues, like, related to that. But it doesn't actually seem like he's a malicious person or a sleazy person at his core. Like, all the things he was doing to make this movie came from a pure place of him misunderstanding everything about everything he was doing and how to work with people and how to, like, exist as a human being. So it's like, there is a certain level of purity that makes this a movie that I think, for a long time, even without the, you know, the whole show going on with the football and the spoons and all the rickety-rackety, you know, all the bells and whistles and all that stuff, I think that there will be a place for The Room in the, like, you know, midnight movie cult classics. Because, you know, it's the fucking Room, man. It is the fucking Room. But which one? was the real room.
Oh, let's not get started on that again.
That's my movie. Big Shark! Yeah, good one, Big Shark. From scratch, like a bread. Yes. Love is blind, why is it blind? Love is blind, why is it blind? Because it's question mark, that's why. Anything here, guys? Oh yeah.
Having fun, Taylor?
What's your hair routine? That's a good one. Shower, shampoo, etc. No sex, okay?
How did you end up in the Scary Love music video?
One more time.
How did you end up in the Scary Love music video for the neighborhood?
Oh, well, they hired me. That's basically, I did my job, yes. We're getting married in June and we haven't gotten a priest yet. Can you do the wedding? Yes. Absolutely. Come over here. Come on. That's the touchdown. Come over here, right here. Everybody can see you. Right here.
Right on, children of the screen, thank you for joining us for another edition of What the Fuck Was That on The Room.
By the way, dear friends, I loved hanging out with y'all, and I loved meeting y'all if y'all ever do see this.
Dear friends, salute! Right on, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please leave a like and share it with some friends. Also, if you're not subscribed, then please hit the little button so you can get all the updates and all the dope content we'll have coming out in the future. Once again, thank you very much. Hope you all have a good one. Nerd Scum, the dear friend, out.
Bye!
I got jazz hand antlers.